Yeah, hi, NauticEd Instructors. This is Grant Hedefin, Global Director of Education for NauticEd, and I'm going to explain the assessment app that we use for instructors, that when you're taking students out on the boat. And this is an amazing app. It is probably groundbreaking in what we think in the education field for practical training and assessment. So let's just get started with it. And as you know, the rubrics that were designed by the United States Coast Guard for sailing training and assessment, they have been implemented into the American national standards, and so NauticEd adheres to that standard very, very well, we might say. And again, just a quick description of what a rubric is. There's a rubric assessment, and that might be something like a skipper small keelboat assessment, or bareboat charter assessment, or catamaran assessment, something like that. Part of the assessments, there are skill sets. So there's multiple skill sets, and each skill set is made up of various micro tasks. And then that micro task, there's a full description for that micro task, and then when the student performs that microtask, you get to grade the student. And the important thing here is that it's not pass fail. You are merely grading that student as to how they did during the performance of that task. And then you get the information at the end of everything. You get an objective view at that student at the end of the whole assessment as to how you are going to grade that student. And again, it's not an overall pass fail. It's a crew or skipper, or perhaps a bareboat charter master grade, or even what we've implemented, which is when they do it just so well that we say they absolutely crushed it. So let's pull up the app and go ahead and log in. Once you've logged in, then what you'll see is a fairly blank page, but it says start a new assessment. So you just click on that. And then once you start a new assessment, it will ask you what kind of assessment you're going to be doing. So maybe it's skipper small keelboat, or bareboat charter master, or skipper large keelboat. So for this purposes, we're going to select bareboat charter master. And you'll see right under there that it has 7 skill sets. So select that, and then up it comes. Now you'll notice that there's no students attached to that Bareboat Charter Master assessment yet. Select which students, and it will reach out into your own instructor database and select all the students that are attached to you. And then so you just select those students that are going to be as part of this assessment. So in this one, we're selecting John Sailor and Joseph Sailor. So hit next, and now you'll notice that we've got 2 students attached to that assessment. And then as soon as you click on that assessment, you'll see the whole assessment and all of the skill sets come up, and you'll see John and Joseph right there. So go ahead and tap on skill set number 1, and that's ready for departure. So as we tap on that, you're going to see the full description of that skill set, and it's safety inventory. So we're going to ask the student, can they identify key safety equipment necessary for the use thereof for a manifestly safe voyage, including fire extinguishers, flares, first aid kit, sound device, flashlight, fire blanket, toolkit, inspection and donning of life jackets, and discuss accessibility. And so you're going to have that student go through that little task, and then you're going to click on each student, and you're going to grade them. So let's click on John, and we're going to, a little window will pop up, and then you will click on however he did that. So if he's at bareboat charter master level of competence for that task, you'll just click on that. And then you'll notice that John has turned green because he's been graded. And then now we'll go do Joseph, and we'll click on Joseph. And perhaps Joseph didn't do so well at that. So we'll click on crew, and as soon as you'll see that John is green and that Joseph is now pink or red. And the whole micro task itself is graded as red. It means somebody didn't do so well on that task. So let's go back, and we'll do Joseph again, and we'll click on him, and he did a bareboat charter master competency job on that task. So he's now turned green, and you'll notice the whole micro task itself has turned green, and that's an indication to you that you don't need to come back to that one. Everybody on the boat did a great job. So now what we'll do is we'll just move on to the next task. Flick your finger, just drag your finger across. That goes to the next task. Electric panel, you can go through that and then grade the two students, and perhaps they did well on that one. So that's number 1.2 electric panel, and then move on to the next one. And just flick your finger, goes on to emergency call, and start grading that one. And you'll see this little icon up here. You'll notice that when we put an icon there, you can tap on that, and you'll see that that means it's that it's a critical task, that it must be performed properly by the students to get an overall grade of competency. And so as you go through, you're seeing everything turning red or pink, and then it'll go through it. And then on this one, we'll just go right through all the way through the task through to 1.9, and we've graded John and Joseph green on those ones. So now, as we come back out, you'll see that the skill set number 1, ready for departure, is being marked red. And we know that it's red because some of the students didn't do so well on some of those tasks. Right, okay, so what we'll do now is, let's say we want to find out who didn't do so well. So let's tap on John. And this brings up, you'll see at the top there where it's got John Saylor. And so this is everything that he didn't do so well in that skill set. So he crushed, we did well on emergency call, but he just didn't do so well on galley and above deck. So you graded him as crew competency on those ones. And as we go back to the whole skill sets, you'll see again that skill set number 1 is pink, and perhaps you've graded or regraded John to be green, in which case that little line there would be green. All right, so let's move on to now skill set number 2, and it's the same thing. Just going through, pulling up all of the skill sets. You'll see weather knowledge. We're going to grade John and Joseph, weather knowledge, and then you'll see how you can just keep going through the whole program. And as we come back out, you'll see that John and Joseph, as we've graded all of the skill sets, you can now see that some of them are green and some of them are red. And you can go back in again and see which ones are red. So we can also tap on John again, and we can bring up everything that he's done not so good. So we could dive back into skill set number 1 or skill set number 3 that you're seeing as red. And then we can also tap on this little filter button here at the top right, and that will bring up everything that John hasn't done so well on. And you can see that it'll order them in terms of the colors. So everything that he hasn't done so well in all of the skill sets will be listed right there. So you can go back to those, and some of them, you know what, some of them might not be completely critical, but at least you're getting a really good view of how John is doing. Okay, so now what we can do is if we finish the day with John and perhaps with Joseph, what we do is we want to issue a final grade to them. So we'll just tap on this little person icon down here at the bottom, and that will bring up all your students again. And you can go ahead and tap on John right there at the bottom, and that will pull up all the rubrics for him. And you'll see that he's been involved in the Bareboat Charter Master rubric that day. You can then just go online to issue an overall grade. So right at this point, you're going to make up your mind. How did John do? Are there some critical tasks that he really shouldn't be graded for Bareboat Charter Master, or perhaps there's some of them that you can perhaps let slide because they're not that critical, and overall he just demonstrated a really good competence. So make your mind up on that. You just click on go online, and then what will happen is you can grade John online, and you'll be looking for, as you've done this before online, actually, you can see it. There's that little checkbox, upgrade the student's verified practical competency. And you check that, and then off you go. So now what's really cool is that you can also send John a PDF report by just clicking this little button here, and that will pull up a report, and then you can tap on if you want to text that whole report to them or email it to them, email it to anybody, and then they've got this fantastically beautiful report of exactly what you did today. All of this data is kept, and as you go back in, let's say John has to come back out another time, you can pull this data back up again and go ahead and regrade just the areas that you felt that he wasn't competent in. So the data is kept for you. So that's how the assessment app works, and I really hope you're going to enjoy it. I hope you're going to implement it in the field. Of course, we do require that as you're giving competence grades to people that you do use the rubrics. Now, you don't have to use this app, but we highly recommend it. If you're not going to use this app, then you'll need to use the paper version. But I really think that you're going to very much enjoy this app. It's very simple, and you can see that we color-coded it. And even if, what we even did in this whole app is that if you're red-green colorblind, that's not a problem. You can just go right into the settings, and you can change the colors of pass and fail or crew or bareboat charter master, crushed it. And look, give them the crushed it. If somebody did such a good job, you can go through and start hitting, crushed it. Oh man, you really crushed that. And then that's a sort of a brighter green, and that'll really show up in the whole thing. And it'll actually show up in the report as well, so that people are starting to feel the confidence that they've really done a good job. Okay, thanks very much, and hope you're going to use this app and really enjoy it. Bye.